Well, hello. I'm gonna be by myself at the moment. I'm waiting for Terence, but I hate waiting, so I'm just gonna chat to myself. I'm not sure if anybody joining me, but just decided to just go on and do this. I hate waiting. And Terence is just running a little bit late. So hello to you all. Still not fully recovered, but my voice is okay to have a conversation. So I'm just here. I'm gonna sip my wine slowly and wait for somebody to talk to on live video. So hopefully everybody's okay. I watched last week's video of Terence talking with Damien. Hey, Andrew Lopez, thank you for joining me. By myself at the moment, but hopefully Terence will oblige and join me as he's supposed to, but he's doing some work stuff. So yeah, at the moment I'm by myself. So and I'll gonna somehow keep you hopefully entertained. I'm just gonna show you at first something which I haven't yet read, but I'm really looking forward to. Of course, once again, library came through for me. I found something kind of different. I guess I always look for something out of the ordinary most of the times. If it's, of course, it meets my eye, and like it just wants to say to me, you have to read this anyway. Hey, Damien. Hello in the chat. So in a different way. So yeah, it's kind of odd at the moment being by myself. But as I say, I hate waiting. So I just decided to just talk to myself, I guess. I'm seeing myself and talk to you, of course, whoever is in the chat. My birthday was on just a couple of days ago, on Thursday, actually. Didn't do anything crazy, didn't like celebrate it, had a quiet one, but it's fine. Like when you have families, that's one thing it is. Other family members are away from me, so wasn't really something I wanted to do anyway, so I just let it be in quiet moments. So and then I didn't pick up anything like for comic wise as a present lately. As I said, I'm just giving attention more now to comics and whatever I have or whatever pull list I do. But library is always a helping point to explore something new. So the first thing I found, was Flake by Matthew Dooley. Cape Graphic Novels production. It's a hardback. Oh, thank you, Goridel. Yeah. And then I am the youngest in I am always going to be 21. Anyway, so Flake by Matthew Dooley. Very kind of like a one man's tale. So the guy is an ice cream man. And then that's why I picked it up, because it's like not your typical ice cream man what you guys are reading, but something of the same sort. Thank you, Ragamuffin, for birthday wishes. Anyway, so it's one man's band. Matthew Dooley has done it by himself. That's your Jonathan. Yeah, Cape London. So publishing. And then and it's kind of nice introduction in here, and I just wanted to show you the art in here. I read only a couple of pages. It has even I really like when the hardcovers do that. They have a string to like your to put where you have read. I just sampled a little bit, but I really enjoyed the art. And so far he is he having his tea, talking to his boss, and it seems to be life is not really great for him. So I'm looking forward to read this, of course, fully. But this is something I'm gonna hopefully talk to you in the week following video and tell you my opinions about that. The one thing I was quite excited to actually even find in British Library, as I am Lithuanian, not something comic-wise I've would from fellow Lithuanians have actually seen. But to my surprise, my library had this Siberian haiku. So this is a tale from, of course, a girl called Yurga and her granddad's experience in Siberia because of the time before World Wars. Russia took over, and then by no apparent reason, they take your families away to Siberia. And this is her granddad's experience. So in early, like it says at the back of the book, it says, early one June morning in 1941, a band of soldiers pulled 8-year-old Algis, which is her granddad, and his family out of their beds and told them to prepare for a long trip. This is how masses of Lithuanians were forcibly relocated to Siberia. Why were they deported? What crimes they were guilty of? Where Siberia? So many questions ran through Algis' mind. There's this distant and brutal north. His family survived by eating frozen potatoes, salting their soup with tears, and warming their hearts with song. So it's not very jolly-go-lucky book, but it's part of the history, honestly, in my country. So I really was surprised to even see that on the shelf. It's a really nice hardcover. And the publishing house is Self-Made Hero. So they decided to take a risk on this as well, so which is absolutely fantastic. So I'll show you the art inside once again. So that's introduction. This is our main character, Algis. Everything is in English. So, and there is your art. So it's kind of like memoirs, not your atypical borders in a comic book style storytelling, but it's very interesting to look at. I'm looking forward to see and like reimagining what usually I've heard the tales of. But there was one thing which is amazing is that I actually managed to find it, and then just actually gonna experience it. So yeah, it's very and actually the real letters in here, letter from Alfonso's. So yeah, it's will be interesting to see what's gonna come out of it, and if it's imagining what from my childhood was stories being told about people just randomly going into like deported in Siberia just because. So interesting to see from other person's perspective. I think when you're a child growing up and the family is telling you the stories, you tend to kind of think it's imaginary tales kind of thing. So if somebody else's perspectives of other people's experiences in family, it will be interesting to see this as well. So definitely very surprised once again, as it is Lithuanian made. So yeah, of course I want to support it, and the minute I saw it, I definitely had to I have check it out and experience it by myself. So those the two books from the library which I haven't read yet and I just picked up recently. But it seems to be Terence is running quite late, which I didn't expect it to be this late. But anyway, I guess I should just start talking about comic books in generally. So there's I think the one they were recommending me 2 weeks ago to read, because remember, guys, I don't know if you watched the previous live chats, we were talking about this ginormous Marvel comic book, Marvel, by Alex Ross and other creating teams. And they were asking me if I have ever managed to read Silver Surfer. So I did look at my library and checked out if I have. Unfortunately, they don't have that Silver Surfer story in the big format. They just had a normal trade version, like almost comic book version trade. And then the Silver Surfer Black was something I recommend by both Damien, I think, and Terence as well. So I read it. So creator teams, of course, is Donny Cates, Tradd Moore, and Dave Stewart. So it seems to be a crazy high demand artists and creators and writers. Of course, Donny Cates has been imprinting himself in Marvel lore quite a lot now and is quite popular. I have picked up this issue #1 on my pull list, but I've never continued with it. I don't know why. Maybe I know why. Marvel. I tend not to pick up Marvel nor DC #1 books, but I afterwards, I was like, always get a trade. So as you can see, you can always get a trade, even in your library. So yeah, and I actually loved the story of as much as I could have loved the story, because I think it is continuations through what Donny Cates was writing in that time. I think there's lots of mentioning Guardians of the Galaxy in here, but as not reading anything prior to that, this story didn't disappoint as well. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. Of course, doing Marvel trade is quite easy. It's a very thin one. I think it's 6 issues storyline, but of course the winner first and foremost was Brad Moore's art. And by what Donny Cates was telling us at the back of this book, as you can see, have a forward. He was talking about when he wrote the story, and apparently he's a very good friends with Brad Moore, and he was telling a story about that time when he was writing Silver Surfer, or idea of Silver Surfer story. There is death of Stan Lee, and then he remembers Stan Lee because he's growing up. He remembers standing in a queue waiting for Stan Lee's signature and stuff like that. So this is just a couple of things that he was writing at the back of it. But anyway, so we have this Silver Surfer, and honestly, this is great art. And it's sad that they didn't have in that bigger format. I definitely would have liked to have that in bigger format, because it just screams to you to have that in that ginormous page you could have. And then, it's it's very trippy. The lines are very fluid. It really helps that for Silver Surfer telling, because he's like the creature in space. He has these powers, and the way he was using the board, I was kind of surprised. I'm not sure if I was ever exposed to that kind of abilities, or I don't know. Maybe you guys tell me that if Silver Surfer was able to use the sword in any other shape than a board, but apparently in this tale you could have. So that was something new for me. So I wasn't expecting it in that sense. So things happens, and it's just like that question how to of existence of Silver Surfer. And he was basically ended up somewhere in non-existence, and he was in the void, and he was just believing hard, and because of his powers, he felt that he brought something into fruition. And then we have the Venom, not Venom, but Venom. The villain who's everybody's going to be talking about it when the Thor movie going to come out is in here. And then he gets infected by that power of the black, and I think his knee turned. Something through. King in Black. Yeah, Andrew Lopez is telling us about what it is. And there you go. We have Null in here, and I like the way he is portrayed in here, and it seems to be that the blackness and the king of black he was. And then this is issue 2. I really enjoyed this Galactus tale, how it went. I was very surprised about his kind of origin he wanted to portray in here. He was, before he was into fruition, our Galactus character was born in an island, but it's just maybe one of the pre-tales of Donny Cates. This is how he wanted to tell the story. But I just isn't it? Yeah, I forgot the name of that planet, which is I always do. Of course, because I'm just chatting to you guys. And as I say, I just keep on scrolling and scrolling. It's just beautiful art. And it's really good. 6 issues, really intense, completely going through. He's fighting to. He always fights to see how he can defeat Null, and he found a way. It's just as I say, it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, we have this his previous lives, like all Silver Surfers does have, like like thinking about what would happen, and it shows us just a little bit of this in this trade as well. Anyway, very good, absolutely fantastic, and thank you for recommending. I definitely will tell that to Terence to see if he is when I'm going to see him, to tell him that thank you for the recommendations, because I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was really quick read, but surprisingly one of the first, not the first, but one of the things which actually from the beginning to the end I read from Donny Cates, because I remember I picked up his Venom run, but I never went through it until kind of like right at the end of this, which I picked up more Venom stuff for my husband, but picking up something he doesn't tend to read anyway. So this is fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Great, and I highly recommend to anybody else to go through to, if you can, go to library and explore this run, or this kind of like imagination of Norrin Red as a Silver Surfer and his like Donny Cates' imagining of that. The next thing I guess I'm going to talk about is something I'm always mentioned, but I don't think is I've seen people mentioning it. So this is European collaboration. I only get this in digital format, the reason being because it's originally published in French, but thankfully for Europe Comics, I think is that what the place is where I got Euro Comics, I think it's called. They give you a English version, so I've never seen it in print. I would love to see it in print, but every single time I had this to read, oh, look at that, he's here. Ha, you here. Sorry, I couldn't wait.
No, that's totally fine. I wouldn't expect you to. It went longer than
yeah, I bet. That's why I was like thinking, I didn't want to put under pressure, so I was like,
right.
Chat for a little bit. Where I was talking about something I picked up in library, and I read this.
Oh, sweet! You read it?
Yes, and I actually really enjoyed it. But of course, awesome. One of the best parts was art. Of course, it's just so trippy. I was imagining if you had shrooms and you read this. I mean, come on, man, that would be like sky. Like you would start like go online on Twitter and you start say, "Oh, wow, this is #1. You should guys go. This is the best thing I've ever read," or something like that. It's just so fluid, like you get those 70s vibe and the colors and all that stuff. So, yeah, very good. Thank you for recommending. As I said to awesome. People before, like it's really good. It's a pity it's not that big format. Right. It screams you need to have a bigger format. It's so nice.
This one?
Oh, shut up! Show off. Well, see, library.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad you read it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Tradmore is a beast. Hello, everybody saying hello in the chat. Mr. Hello. Vidal, Sleepy Reader, Angie Lopez.
Yeah, Scott Connor is here. Ragamuffin is here. Vidal is here. So, yeah. So they kept me company while you weren't here. So that was lovely.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was so nice. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's only you gonna be now. Where's the boys?" Last week I missed out. So
that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna continue. I'll let you settle in
Please.
Before everything starts. But I'm gonna start talking about something I was starting to say. Let me start doing things when I was alone. It's like not do anything. Anyway, so The Undertaker by Ralph Mayer, Caroline Delaby, and Javier Dorison. So I don't know if you remember or recall me talking about this a prior chat like a year ago, maybe 2 years even ago. But this is the series, the Western series, I absolutely love, and I bet nobody's reading it because, as I said before, its production is French originally production in French, and of course the lovely hardcovers and stuff like that. But I do that in digital format, and it's so good. So it's a number 6 of the of the 6 so I've read, and it continues to. Oh, I need to make sure it's like anyway. It continues to be absolutely fantastic. The art, it's just a kicker. It's so beautiful. It's immersive. It's exactly what westerns you want to be, and the story isn't bad as well, of course, because we continue following the storyline of Jonas Crow. I think that's what his name is. Now of course I'm talking with you guys online on my name, so everything is just blanking. But anyway, so he's an undertaker, and he is basically solving because one of the Tuscan richest person's son marries an Indian, and of course in that time and era that's no good. So he was called white Indian. Anyway, and then they found him dead. And then because he was basically forced to go in to look for the son and find his because he is basically, as an undertaker, he takes care of dead, but he has a history prior to that. He is he has of course an army guy. He has he has some friends, and then also it seems to be Indians not minding him that much because he's kind of like in between guy from good to bad, like kind of I don't know where I belong kind of thing. But it's so well done. The art wise, you just immerse yourself. You can't. I just could sometimes you just stop reading. It's just how good it is. I actually follow Ralph May on Instagram, and he does a lot of things on there just to show you what it is. And then when he showed this that in France it came out maybe a half year ago. So it's oh my god, it's out. I want it, but I wasn't able to see it on the Eurocomics website yet. So just 2 weeks ago I looked it up again, and I was like, let's have a look, maybe they have another one. And here you go, they have another one. And to my surprise, I was so excited. So I did read this 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to talk to you about last week about this comic book. Unfortunately, I got cold. Preschool parent whose child brings everything lovelies to my corner, and it seems to be my body doesn't like that either. Anyway, the story continues really well, and I don't want to even go further into it because I really hope you guys somehow get to read this. It's really worth the time. I think it's the amount of work the person did. So the son is here. I just made it bigger so you can see he got shot really proper dead, and then they and this is the wife of his who he married, and then he has a son as well, and this crazy mother of the sons. She's taken all in. They capture them all. She tries to basically take the mother somewhere where probably to her death, and takes her son, so it's her grandson, and makes him to be almost a white. So she changes his hair and everything, but it ends really well as well. So it ends to the point where you're expecting to be. So it's a good story to kind of with good expectations at the end of it, and it's so solid. And what I'm trying to say, if you are a fan at all of westerns, highly recommend them, right? So Undertaker, really good, absolutely fantastic.
And you said Eurocomics, is that the company?
Yeah, Eurocomics. It's basically you can download quite a few European comics books, I guess, French or Belgian. The artists usually on that website is all of them usually are Belgian or French or Italian, or not. I haven't even seen an English person, to be honest, name of the artist there, because I've been scrolling through on the website. I can even show you the website if it's gonna load. So the website it's not loading really well, but the website is called Europe, but it's Euro europecomics.com. So europecomics.com is the website where you can find your European comic book, something new, something different. And it's also, there's a lots of choice. There's a noir burlesque title. There is, they have an extensive catalog. And if I like, for example, that's a catalog in here, and you have quite a few, like it's usually a lot of, so it goes by genre as well, but not something you see every day on your comic book. I not seen that before as well. So even like something old as well, short stories they have. So like that's how I discovered Untaken generally, by just one of those days when we were like maybe chatting with somebody about European comics. I just like go scroll around online and find that. So I found this one, and just the art, and like, because I always, as I say, such a fan of Blueberry, I always look for something similar. Not similar in vein of doing kind of like the same work, but it's just Western type, and it's just so immersive and so beautiful to look at.
Totally.
So very, very excited about that. So
cool.
Really good to read. So there's 6 of them, like 6 albums, I presume, European type. So really good to read. So
I
if
feel like
can find it,
somebody showed them off on Twitter recently. I know you talked about. I do remember when you talked about it before, but I feel like someone else did. I'm wondering if it was Chaos and Comics. I don't remember, but it's a good reminder about it.
Yeah, as I say, but it would be nice to see somebody showing actually printed. Like maybe even the French edition, but just to see the actual on the page, like not digitally. But I would love to do that. But I can't get that. I can't see it anywhere. I don't know. Some never came through it. So digital is the second best, I guess. Especially if you get something, it's been translated for you in English, and in quite quick succession as well. So.
Yeah, totally. Sweet. Shall I just jump into it?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. So
do you want to say something about it before you say it?
I think in the beginning you guys talked about this creator of Valerian passed away, I think yesterday, right? 82 years old. So the RIPs, and if you're like me and you waited far too long to get into some Valerian, give it a shot. It took me a couple of volumes to really get into it, but I'm full on into it now. It's really enjoyable. So what did I read? I read a few things. One of the things, let's start with let's go full on Canadian. So it's Arik Khan, The Fantastic World of Arik Khan, and it is a character. Andromeda Publications, and owned and operated by Silver Snail Comics, which is based out of Toronto. So a Canadian comic that I've had in my collection for quite a while. I found them quite a while ago for a reasonable price, and I just never really read them. I didn't get into them. I didn't even really flip through them, to be honest. But now with all my Cull love and Alex Nino love, I decided to give this a shot yesterday. The writing itself was pretty kind of maybe just a little bit below average. It wasn't all that great, but it didn't really matter. These are beautiful books. I've got 3 issues. I don't know how many came out, but stuff like this, really, really great. And that beautiful black and white style. And like I said, there's some of the line work, like I'll show you on other pages too. I don't know if it comes through there as much, but some of the later pages, especially around like clothing and stuff like that, it really has a Alex Nino kind of vibe to it. So we get introduced to our character, and he kind of, as he's hacking these beasts apart, lopping off their heads, and he kind of starts just to, they use it as a moment where he kind of flashes back to kind of how this soul life started for him. So we get the kind of origin story of him, and how he kind of came to be the person that he is. It's a fun enough story. Like I said, the story itself is serviceable enough to get you flipping through the pages, but I really, really dig the art a hell of a lot. It has that sort of little bit washed out black and white quality to it. It's not incredibly crisp, which I also like. Here we go. There's a good panel there. So even those skies and things and that kind of perspective. There's a couple of wonkinesses with characters as far as like supposed to be foreground and background, and they all look like they exist on the same plane, stuff like this. It doesn't throw you out of it by any stretch, but it's hard to kind of get a little bit of separation between them, right? And also what he's doing with some of the open panels as well. It's nice, your eye flows through it and stuff, but yeah. So that was issue number 1. I just started digging into, before my meeting this afternoon, I was digging into issue number 2. Didn't get very far into it though, but I was a bit worried when I saw the cover. Actually, I'm like, oh man, I hope they haven't switched, but thankfully no, it's same artist inside. And
so
to
who's
give
the
full
artist?
credits,
Yeah.
So it's Frank Reyes, Reyes, and then the story is by Ron Van Leeuwen, and then a script by Ron Van Leeuwen and George Olchevsky are the full credits there. So there's his name there. And I thought you would dig this too on that first issue. He does a little, yeah, there's if you can see the signature there. He does a little faux Frank Frazetta type of signature there too.
Somebody's a fan.
Yeah. And then issue number 3, I'll just show you the cover of this one. And then that's issue number 3 there with some dragons, some nice colorful cover there. So yeah, so I'm glad that they didn't switch artists because that would have been disappointing. But yeah, I mean, kind of fitting in with my whole Cull reading and stuff like that. So kind of fits snugly with all of that.
You like
it also made me miss the Master again, though, saying that I was reading it and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should read the Master again and the Young Master again because of how much I enjoyed it. Because it's so similar to Nino. There's such a similarity in some of the pages.
So the person is probably Nino, Frank Frazetta inspired artist, probably, you know. It's so you like really into barbarians, eh? Are we gonna see you like in just a cloth next video?
I don't know what's gotten over me. Give me a naked man in a loincloth and apparently I'm happy. So but it's really fun. I don't know what it is about it specifically. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I mean, I'm really enjoying it. And I think one of the things, though, with some of it, it keeps reminding me because I'm far behind on Thorgal. I haven't had a new Thorgal volume for like a year at this point, right? So I think as I'm reading this stuff, it's like, man, I gotta get back into that, and I gotta, so it's reminding me of other stuff that I need to get into as well. But I'm really enjoying the stories. I think they're fun. The fight scenes are great, and it's also just the artists that are attached to some of this stuff. I didn't realize, I guess, some of these kind of subgenres, like when you get into the DC horror and stuff, when you start seeing all those Filipino artists, it's an incredible world of artists that you don't see anywhere else but in there. I should say also the Cull stuff is there's a lot of big names in it for sure, so it's not like they're all unknowns or anything, but it's nice to get that mix. So honestly, Scott, maybe barbarian movies are next, who knows.
So Ragamuffin has a perfect edition comics on video, on the French edition of Undertaker. There you go. So I need to definitely keep an eye on that one. Hopefully I remember.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, because I definitely want to look at the video, because there's I found another guy, but I think he's doing like digital format. He just flips the pages like through, like those people sometimes just do a video of what's inside the comic, which is actually quite great because you kind of like immerse yourself in the stuff. But of course, if it's in French, you can't really read many things. But some people do that anyway. So, as I say, it's really good storyline and it's really, really well drawn. So. Those French artists who has the abilities of, like crazy abilities of doing this stuff. And they're good at everything. That's the thing, like interior, the backgrounds, the horses, which is the most difficult thing to draw anyway. And then just those expressiveness and stuff. Talking about the horses, did you read that? Did you read this?
No, I haven't picked it up. I haven't been to that comic shop in probably like a month at this point. I just haven't had a chance to get down there. Is it good?
I like it because I remember Damon was saying that he was kind of confused, and it does a little bit confusing because it's kind of jumping times.
Yep.
Because there's something what our main character Tyrion remembers, then you have go back into whatever happens in whatever we have seen in previous issue. But I really liked it. As I say, I
Cool.
don't want really to. It would be nice to talk about it when we all read it. One
Yep.
thing really confused me right at the back, which is that's why it would be nice to check upon somebody else who's read it. So maybe we should wait the next week, hopefully, and Damien can pop in, and maybe we take an I don't know, whatever time you are able to go in. I'm not going to force you to just like go to the shop because I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
But
No,
whatever
trust
time.
me, I'm jonesing to read that one because I mean, we've all really enjoyed it so far, and I'm curious to see what happens after what I think maybe was a bit of a confusing or misstep in the previous issue. So does it feel like how does it feel compared to last issue? Do you still kind of feel lost, or do you feel like no, that was going somewhere?
No, it's slowly unravels, but the way
Right.
they telling the story is a bit confusing because there's too much information at some levels, but you have to basically take in what you're reading, and I think second maybe reread would even confirm it even more. But I wasn't confused at the first, just right at the end I got really confused because there's a scene with one guy with a beard and a hat. I think he was one of the guys who was shooting at the guys who were going to take somebody in to another fort.
Okay.
Yeah. As I say, it would have been nice. But anyway, so there's the scene with that guy, and who appeared in it? I was like, hey, is it our main character or is it somebody related to main character? That's what got confused for me.
Right.
But this Wednesday, coming Wednesday, the new issue coming out. So issue 8,
really?
9 coming out, which I'm not going to be able to get until like further. I mean, I could, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But as I say, I really want to talk about it. Like Damien is still here in chat. So yeah.
Wow, I guess I didn't realize I was that far behind if the new one is coming out next week.
Yeah, because I was thinking as well. It's like really, and because it shows in here the next issue 26 January 26. So I was like, oh my god, that's so quick. Anyway, but I'm not gonna mention because as I say,
I'll try to make it down. Even if I make it down and just I'm able to pick up those two, so then I can read them back to back.
Yeah, would be lovely for you. It's even better. Anyway, do you want to say because I've been talking quite a bit, I'll save up some. Do you want to show us again what you have read?
Sure. I mean, I'm pretty minimal in the stuff that I read this week, but I would like to talk about these ones because it was a hell of a lot of fun. So one of the discoveries of last year of kind of doing a lot of small press and independent publishers and zines and artists and et cetera, discovered this reptile house that, again, I mean, shouting him out all the time here, Chaos and Comics. I believe it was him who had read a couple of issues of this. So they put out issues 7 and 8. So I'm a couple issues behind. I think issue number 9 comes out right away as well, too. And just to kind of, I mean, a couple of things to talk about with this one. First of all, is like the quality of these books and the paper and the printing is really top notch for, I think they're out of Pittsburgh, I believe. It's such a fun, weird little anthology. It's sort of underground cartoonish. And some of the stories, obviously, like anything, are going to be better than others. But I would say overall, I really enjoy each issue, even if the story like this first one is kind of a little bit abstract. It's still fun to kind of flip through.
So is it a bit smaller in format?
It is, yeah. So here's a regular comic, another series that I was reading that I didn't get to. So there's just a regular size comic, so about the same width, just a little bit shorter, a little more square. Philadelphia, thank you, AFPC. And some of the artists that they have in this one, some really quality work here. Who do we have here? That's the thing. They don't always do the credits right at the beginning, so I apologize if I don't get the names. This style I really dig, and I feel like the same creator is in the next issue as well with a different story. And I mean, you know, there is more adult kind of content. It sort of mixes comedy. There's some horror type elements. This one being kind of one of those horror stories where her body is going through these changes and she doesn't quite understand what's going on with her. And we kind of get panels like this as well too, where we're sort of taking an X-ray look inside her. She's kind of transforming into another creature. Just really, really great, beautiful art. Stuff like this is great too. Swamp rats, sea monkeys are for losers. Get swamp rats. You put them in bottles of moonshine and you shake well. And yeah, highly recommend it. And they're all, each of them are $5 a piece. I think they're still at $5 a piece. And shipping is pretty reasonable. Let's see, what else can I highlight from this one? Oh yeah, another artist. Okay, so brace yourself, boobies. Another artist that I really enjoy as well too. This one called Maggot Cock. Is really fantastic. But again, like, yes, boobies are wonderful, but the art is also exceptional. It's really great stuff. As kind of grotesque. This is more of like a horror. I won't show you any more pages. I won't push my luck, but it's more horrific than anything else. And then kind of just gag, kind of short strips and stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's that one, which is great. But I wanted to show you this next one. So Roger Binion is a guy that I discovered last year who did some blacklight comics and mini comics and zines and stuff. So they got Roger Binion to do a cover for them on this next Reptile House, and it's issue number 8, right? Yeah, issue number 8, and it's an all 3D, as in cyan and the old school 3D. So the whole thing is 3D, and they got a piece of vellum on the front too. So they do some kind of separations and play with some stuff. So pretty great to get Binion doing the front and back covers. And I'll open that up there too, so you can see.
Oh, that's sweet looking
stuff. And it's really, really good. The 3D is amazing. They also have in this issue, they have a free 2022 calendar with art looking like Brandon Graham-ish, but there's all the months, and the 3D on this poster is phenomenal. For each of the months, the 3D works so well. Really fantastic. So I'll show you a couple of the highlights in here, but at the beginning, what does he say at the beginning? Editor's note, well, that was a fucking nightmare. Never doing that shit again. So obviously it's not going to be easy to produce. So that's the editor's note for that issue. So it can't be easy to produce. The 3D on this page was really good too. So there's a look at some of the creators'
low
names
level.
there.
You can actually kind of read it. Shane Olsen, Nick Bunch.
Yeah, I'll read out some of them. Shitty Style, Nicole Rodriguez, Low Level, Mechanical Pencil Girl, Kelly Campanile, I think, Shane Olsen, and Nick Bunch, and Otto Splotch. And I'll show you a couple of the highlights. There, some really great. And the use of lettering, like this was another story where the 3D worked really well. And the lettering there really jumps off the page at you.
So talking about those 3D glasses, I mean, I've always, because I have a couple of comic books, but I never came to with 3D glasses, because sometimes you buy cheap comic books, they never leave those 3D glasses. You just buy your generic 3D glasses and they will work.
Yeah, you should be able to find, as long as they're the red and blue. That's too bad, because it seems like sometimes I find so many 3D glasses with comics. When I've sent you stuff in the past, next time I send you something, I'll send you some pairs, because I've got a bunch of them. So this one, the issue came with it. So they sent you the glasses as well too. So if you do decide to go for it, you'll get the glasses. So one of the other tricks that they do, which I think paid off incredibly well, there's 2 pages here where it's a Philadelphia street life field guide. So it's the wildlife of Philadelphia, and then kind of like the street life, like the people in the city of Philadelphia. And you close one eye and you see one image. You close the other eye and you see another image. So it's not 3D, but they use that 3D. Pardon me, to give you basically 2 comics in one.
Wow.
Which I thought was such a clever idea, because it looks kind of a mess when you see it, but that's because there's 2 different images lying on top of each other. One of them is in red, one of them is in blue. Super, super fun. It's a funny little piece too, just talking about the different animals, and then kind of the different, like, the punk rockers and stuff that are in the city, but a
Yeah.
really cool use of that idea.
Yeah.
This was also
Oh, wow.
phenomenal. The art in this one is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I apologize for not knowing each artist individually.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a lot of fun. They're going and there's a big fight over the last donut. And they just get into it and they start beating the heck out of each other. But some real wild kind of looking panels. Stuff like this is fantastic. And as they just kind of get into a fight. And of course, there's, a little bit of provocative stuff going on there.
Of course.
What else? Yeah, those are kind of the highlights. This was a good kind of horror story. I can't remember the condition where you feel disassociated from your body or your body parts. This is a guy who's going through that and kind of this disassociation with his face, like not recognizing himself in the mirror. Really, really good the way that it kind of twisted, because when it first happened, I was legitimately like, that's a really great premise, like I wonder where this is going. And they kind of take it into some areas that are more kind of horror movie, 80s horror movie type of thing. But, and it kind of gets into like that kind of 80s style of, the skateboard culture and stuff like that. But it was a really good little story, actually. A pretty interesting jumping off point. Yeah. And then he goes around and infects other people. So everybody else gets this disassociated feeling. Yeah, and that's about it. But I did want to show off those ones because honestly, highly recommend it. I've got every issue now. And I just love it. So I happen to have a couple sitting here because I was going to revisit some of the other ones. And just every single one is quality. So if you are interested in exploring, especially for those that live in the States, it's probably relatively cheap and you can probably get a bundle deal for all of them. I don't know if they have, Pusshead Vibes, exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if they offer a bundle deal if you buy a bunch of them, a bunch of the issues or anything, but it's worth maybe reaching out.
Sorry, so how did you get it? How did you acquire it?
I ordered it directly from them, so I don't remember the website off the top of my head. It was one of those, like when I was looking to get in some independent comics, I reached out to them and I got like a dealer price to, I ordered all 5 issues. Like I think I ordered 5 copies of each of the first 5 issues. I sold 1 or 2 bundles here in town. So my hope was that I could bring some of these things in, but it didn't pan out exactly how I thought it would. Stereoscopic image, that's the term I was looking for, with that looking through one eye and then looking through the other one to get the 2 different comics. That's exactly it.
I really wonder how the printing process is just printing one color and then another one, I presume, isn't it? To get that effect.
Right. And then how you shift that and how you lay that out. I can only imagine it's a fucking nightmare, like he says in there.
I think it's only like just to print that is the more headache of anything else, because of just to tell them the right time, like what you do. So your like whoever your printer is, Jesus, I have to do like a splendid job for you to actually produce this stuff.
Well, and you also need to know how to communicate that and exactly how to deliver those files, so it takes kind of that guesswork out. Like there's stuff about Gary Groth and them at Fantagraphics getting into huge fights with their printers because they would fuck stuff up, and having to learn that language to be able to communicate with them to get what they wanted from their final product, right? Like you've got to develop that language.
Oh yeah, so while you were talking, I all managed quickly to go to YouTube channel and find this Perfect Edition comic books comics website. So there you go. That's the Undertaker. So I definitely
I've never heard of them. How long have they had the channel for? I
don't know if it does say, but he has like quite a few subscribers already. He's like
nice.
1,200 subscribers. So yeah, he is there in the 55 videos. All of them seems to be collected editions, talking manga, talking everything, to be honest. Last Gods, then all that stuff. So yeah, highly recommend to have a look. I already went into to see, because I definitely want to check the printed edition of that comic book I was talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
So now I want to talk about the comic book of the year already for me.
Oh boy.
Because I love this thing before. I've picked up in trade. Unfortunately, didn't pick up in singles because the time he was releasing, and it's quite rare. And he's not coming out with the comic book very often. Reason being is because of the art style. And I I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because of the price tag, but damn, this is worth every single penny. So and the main picture I used it is from this comic book as well. So I'm talking about The Cursed Pirate Girl, The Devil's Cave. Wow. What a thing of the comic book. Is this, I mean, the guy, he doesn't stop. And I know why it takes him so long, because the panels, the pictures, it's just so busy all the time, and the art style he's doing, it's just so beautiful to look at. And you have to I wish that he would come up with the bigger format, like what we have in those Marvel and those Silver Surface. That's the format this actually should be out on. So it's Boom Studios Archaea imprint, which I didn't know they still own it, and there's anything published in that. But originally he published by them, I think, as well, the first volumes. And oh, this is so beautiful to look at. I'm just like, as I say, this is definitely a comic book for me of the year, due for reason, art-wise for sure. Story is still great. It's very I mean, it's an imaginary story about cursed pirate girl who's looking for a father, and the tale on that. But the man's imagination and the creature's creation, it's stellar. It's just so beautiful too. It's just like, as I say, it's printed in this, so it's not white, as you can see, not white pages. It's like off yellowish page, but smell, I don't know what they print on, what kind of paper it is, but it's even for the fresh comic book being printed. And I'm just like, oh, like I'm going crazy for it. Like, just smell this goes, I don't know, the paper he's using is really well, production wise, it's really well produced. So Boom Studios, well done for that. Definitely, they really do take care of the, like, believe in the creator, because took him, like, I don't know how many years to actually produce it. And he was actually, I even follow him on Instagram as well. And it's a I saw it recently that he was popping up with images, and I was like really hoping, because I don't follow and like when comic books releases, so for me it's kind of like always like fresh and new every single time I pick up something. But the minute I saw it, it's like, I can't. And this is the picture I used, and this is a crown of fishes, which is fantastic, and this color, it's so beautiful to look at. So this is so the first couple of pages we're seeing is this dude, a critic, is just criticizing his previous work, basically, at the beginning. So it's a bit doesn't take himself seriously, but then you have actual chapter 4 of The Cursed Pirate Girl. And then the best of the best, I think. So you have, it folds out. It's just so much to look at. And this 4 pages here, it's like a map, like you could just like a child wants to find a treasure, and you just would look through this, and you'll try to discover every single like ways to
amazing.
And the creatures, he's just the imagination, like all the Sea World and all the, it's so busy, of course, and your eyes just travels, and it definitely worth to look at it like 100 times before you actually appreciate what this man has done in his comic book. But I just, as I say, it's a little bit difficult to follow, especially in that big 4-page panel, to follow the story itself. But it doesn't really take away from the story at the beginning. As I say, you can reread it to come back to it, but the amount of details, the amount of care, every single bit of this comic book has something to tell you. This is the great panels where she finds this little thing she wants to disguise, and you have those little panels here to tell you a little bit of a story, what she's actually doing. Okay, take this one, sew this in together, let's like braid this. It's just something little like that. So, and his characters, like this guy, his head is upside down, and she's like, how do you pick your nose? It's just a little say of him, like, how do you pick your nose when your head is like that? Do you like go with your right like? And she has this example how she does it as well. And there's this like a chessboard. This thing could be like a game, and like it's like a Alice in Wonderland, like hype, like 10.0. Like this guy's imagination is absolutely crazy. And yeah, it's I'm so glad I have it in this format, especially because like really nice representation. It's not really like your atypical comic book you will see on a shelf probably for a long time again. Like, because there's still continuation. There's a cliffhanger, which is it's a great cliffhanger. So if you follow the storyline, it definitely will be rewarding you a lot. And then this is one of this guy she has done. And as I say, one of the best things so far I've picked up for the past couple of years, to be honest. So it's the price tag is $9.99 US. But it's worth to how does it look like, how it represents itself, what he wants to just to show you his like proper hard work. Just the man believes in his own storyline and he just wants to show it to you guys. And it's just like absolute splendor. And as ever, like it's as mesmerizing as it is, like the best dream you can ever come up with. Like I don't know where, of course, he got quite inspiration, I think, from Alice in Wonderland, because it does feel a little bit more of that kind of, like sense of it. But I was thinking where you can see this art, every single panel just screams to you to put it in like a big posters, because they just look, I mean, as I say, so well done. It's just breathtaking. And he said on Instagram as well, it took me forever, and I wasn't able to share because like you have to get that, like before you get into print, and it's like it took me so long to do this. But yeah, absolutely fantastic thing. So if you can get hold of it, highly recommend it, because this is it's gonna come out, people will buy it, and it's not gonna be really available, to be honest. I don't think they ever reprinted its original ones. They went straight away into trades because of the period of time it goes into. So the minute I saw it, I hesitated for a second, and I just got it because I after getting it, it's just like, as I say, really well done, really well printed. Paper is beautiful, very kind of hard cards, like harder cardstock on the pages. He uses every single page at the back of the cover, and of course no ads, which is, this is exactly what you want to have in this one. You don't want ads, definitely not. So big ups to Boom Studios for letting this guy do his own thing and letting him and producing it, of course. So so for the people who love
a double length kind of issue. It looks like it's double the amount of pages.
It's quite I honestly haven't calculated how many pages, but it's quite a few. I mean, definitely, I'm not sure if it even mentions the front cover, but it's really, really good. As I say, whoever likes it definitely will pick it up and enjoy it as what they enjoyed before. I think he even went more crazy. I mean, before the panels were less maybe like busy as it is now. It just seems to be maybe he was doing like really taking care of, but that this fold out is absolutely splendid. You just want to just spread it out and just look at it, like just there's so much information in there as well. And then she gets like a pet octopus, and she travels on a fish. The fish talks to her, tells her, why are you doing that? She's going to eat you, like, oh, I just heard, like, she dreams about her dad. And basically the story goes through that she's dreaming and she really wants to save her dad. And nobody thinks that the actual dad is in existence. They're just toying her. And there's this cliffhanger in here, which was quite interesting to what we got discovered, to what it was. It's just so beautiful. And I don't know, maybe I should message him on Instagram, just want me screaming, can you please print it in the big format, please, like hardcover, whatever, whatever you can do, just do it big. It doesn't have to be hardcover. I think this is one thing I probably definitely triple dip, because it's just so beautifully done. And just wanted to celebrate. So Jeremy A. Bastian, that's the creator, all by
That's
himself.
cool. Very cool.
Whatever he's doing. So yeah, comic book of the year for sure. I don't know if I
Scott
will.
was
Yeah, go on. Oh, you.
Scott was saying that he picked up a print from Jeremy at Heroes Con a few years ago. So have I lost you?
Oh, I lost you as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, the print I picked up Jeremy and Con. Are you still there? Yeah, yeah, still here.
Yeah, I'm
You're
still here now.
nodding.
Yeah, my internet is struggling keeping up here. It's kind of getting choppy.
I see.
Yeah, no, it looks
Hopefully
beautiful,
you.
and it is one of them that's all over the place, and it does feel like you said, like it feels like it's every once in a while there's one that comes up on my radar all over the place, not just Twitter, not just Facebook. It seems to come up, and that seems like it's the book that everybody is talking about or at least showing. So it does feel like it's going to do very well for them, which is fantastic.
I mean, it's as I say, it's just looking at it, and like of course black and white, but the way the all lines are very crisp, they're tiny. I mean, you need that bigger format just to explore all of the details. There's some guns. There is this two dudes who's been following her. They have like swordfish helm, like chest pieces. There's just such an imagination in this that yeah, as I say, I don't know if you're gonna be able to find it, or you have even not actually seen it, but if you can find it, I highly recommend. Just if you don't care about the story, just look at this man's abilities on a piece of paper, and imagination is just so wide, and it's just, I mean, just all the panels don't look the same. They're all like very fluid because she's under the sea. The story is under the sea, so all the characters are sea creatures with imagination. There's skulls. There's this creature who is basically he's trying to follow her through and tell the actual bad guy or the king to basically guard himself in his tiny little panel. And he's like, oh, it's me. It's like a kind of jumping out of the page. It's like, me, listen to me. She's the girl. Don't do it. Like something like that. So that kind of details and care he's been up to. So yeah, it's really good. And I'm keep on talking about it, but yeah, it's well worth to talk about.
It's also good that it's also good they printed it on in a different way too. Like you're saying, the quality of the paper and just that off-white as opposed to very crisp and everything. Because it looks, when you're flipping through it, it looks a bit like an older book.
Yeah, exactly, because of that yellowish tint color of the paper. Let's give you look. You can kind of see the different tint to it.
Absolutely.
So it's as I say, I was thinking not to get it, but I don't know why I would even think that, because I know I liked it that much. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Don't go.
I'm still. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Video is not so much.
Hello.
Choppy.
Yeah, no, it all of a sudden shut down for my side too. Both our screens went to thinking mode. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get my hands on it. I know my shops have it because
you chopped up again.
Every week, a couple of the shops put out photos of the new stuff, and that's more so now. Am I gone again?
Yeah, you're like a breaking up and come back again, breaking up, and then sentence a little bit choppy to. Right. I know you said you're gonna try to get hold of it. Yeah, try to get hold of it. Even call that guy, whatever you get the comic books from. Tell him if you can, just keep up. For you if he can, because as I say, I remember that I've heard when it originally came out, nobody was even talking about it. Everybody just brushed through, and then somebody actually got a hold of it, and he just got the wisp of the conversation, and just apparently got sold out quickly. And then it's like you couldn't find it anywhere, and it was going for crazy. Those CGC guys, they were going for hundreds pounds for a period of time.
Yeah.
Chaos is giving you shit there.
Yeah, he's giving some guy named Terrence with an A in his name, so that can't be me.
Oh yeah,
All
come
these
on,
years we've known
Chaos.
each
Get
other,
his
Chris.
name
Come
right.
on.
I remember I used your I think I typed it wrong in somewhere your name, and he's like, that's not
Yeah.
my name. Oh, okay. Sorry, man.
Yeah. I was negotiating my contract year or so ago, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't tell this story. I'm going to stop myself anyway. Carrying on with comics. Ants, yes, there you go, Scott. You got it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
gave him
So
shit for
now
spelling my
you.
name wrong in the negotiations is basically what it was, and it was pretty great because it's, all those times in negotiation that you can kind of get a little bit of a step up and put someone on their back foot is a good thing. So I was able to put them on their back foot a little bit with that. So anyway, we're not here to talk about work. Otherwise, have I got a thing or two to say? I honestly, I don't have much else to be, because I abandoned this.
Oh yeah, because you said you was shit. You remember last time? I think on the video.
It's just shit. Yeah, no, it's shit. Like me. I don't rarely
Yeah, we
bitch
don't
about.
usually
I pretty
badmouth.
much like everything. Even if my enjoyment of stuff is really low, I'll give it a chance. This one, I think this is probably, I don't know, man. I got 2 issues in, and I just at the end of the second issue, I'm like, I just don't care. I don't care. This is excruciating. The art is horrible. And again, please, this is only just my opinion. My opinion of all this was that I didn't like the art at all. I didn't like the story. There was one minor thing, like there's a little bit of a mystery that I'm sort of curious about. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not that curious, to kind of continue. So it's, I'm kind of disappointed. I think I'm going to have more success with the Peter Milligan stuff. I mean, it makes sense that this one might not be the best because, again, it reminds you every single issue that it's now a hit TV series on Fox, which is also fucking debatable. But so, I mean, there's one reason why they put this one out, right? So this is Len Wein and Nestor Redondo on this one here, AFPC. It's just, yeah, I mean, it came out at a time they're trying to promote the show and cash in on it. I totally get it. Absolutely. But it's just bunk. So that one's on the 4th trade or 2 sell pile. I've got a small stack going. So I would avoid this one. It's 6 issues. And then, I'm going to continue with the Peter Milligan. I'll put my efforts into finding more of those. And then just briefly, traded somebody yesterday for issue number 16 of Cull. It was the one that I was missing to stop my reading because I think I've now got up to like issue 21 or something. So this is the first issue back from the Cull and the Barbarians magazine. And it acts as like a kind of overview and a reminder of kind of what's been happening lately, which I totally get. It's a good way to do it, especially if you're coming back to comic form. It's really nice, though. The art in it is great. So who do we have? We have Ed Hannigan, artist, Young Montano, inker, and it's Roy Thomas and Doug Mensch are the co-authors of Wonderment, is what they say. But it's pretty nice looking art.
Yes.
I'm digging.
Oh, I like it.
And it's a good review. They kind of take you back to where they left off in the last magazine. They're back in Atlantis. There's new leadership there, and he has a bit of conflict with somebody else, kind of the leader's right-hand man. And then they use it as a jump off to kind of remind you how we got here and his relationship with Redondo, this musician here. So it's good. I'm looking forward to getting back into it now that they've caught us up. Yeah, Cull, 2 L's. Yep.
Check if you have a stamp. It's 25 cents. Those 25 cents you have stamps, people start to cut them out. Stamping on those here? Marvel stamps, yeah. This is your yes. I think this is the Canadian edition because of the 25 cents. I mean, I'm trying here. But
is that true?
I think so. I because see. There's different way of printing cents and stuff. I think something like that.
I understand, yeah. And it's funny that you say that. I hadn't even noticed it because even the numbering and stuff is a little bit different. I hadn't noticed it, so you just said it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else looks the same.
Yeah. Most of the time it does. It's
so
just
you're saying
rare.
I should slab this one. I should slab it?
Yeah, that's the slab edition. Just make sure check the Marvel stamps because
I'll
those
check.
are
Yeah.
notorious for that time period of time having those stamps, and kids were just cutting them out to put them
Yep.
in there.
So far the call issues I've been reading, I've been lucky where all the stamps are there.
Yeah,
So far I don't have anything with
yeah,
stuff cut out. And I will say credit to my comic shops that if there is stuff like that, they're usually pretty good at kind of putting that on the cover and letting
nice.
you know, like a little
Oh,
note
that's
or
very good.
something. So yeah,
Yeah.
or if it does have it cut out, they'll charge you like pennies for it. You know what I mean? Like they'll charge you
Yeah.
next to nothing for it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
far so good. So far I've been lucky. All the stamps are there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just show you this cover. I got the new Black Panther, and it's
Ooh,
what's his
who's
name
that?
again? I'm blanking on his name. DNA is his signature, and I'm totally blanking on his name right now. He does these kind of negative variants and stuff. Oh, I
Oh.
can't believe I blanked on his name. So anyway, I figured I'd give it a try. It was an issue 1, and I really liked the art on it.
Can you show us the art? Can you
Yeah,
show
I'll
it
take
off?
it. The inside is okay, but I'll show you I'll get you a better shot of this outside.
Mm-hmm.
Nakayama, thank you, David Nakayama. That's it. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Oh,
So
so
really nice.
are we starting now? Number 1, the Black Panther again.
Yep.
Oh.
So number 1 of a new Black Panther story. The art starts out pretty nice, and it kind of switches as we go. So we start out with John Ridley is the writer, Juan Cabal is the artist, Federico Blee is the color artist.
Mm-hmm.
They list anybody else? No, that's it. So this is book 1, but it starts out pretty nice. I like some of this stuff. The style is pretty great.
So, did you hear about the movie struggling with all the bad things happening, like bad juju is going on with Black Panther movie cast?
Oh,
So
really?
somebody
I
gets
hadn't.
yeah. So the first the sister actress, she gets injured really quite significantly. They stop. Then another one, apparently they start again, and then somebody got injured again, and they have to stop
Right.
again. So the production is not really moving forward really well, eh?
Right. Oh, that's too bad. I hope
It's
hope
being
everything is okay.
It's been stopping. Now the Letitia, I think that's the name. The sister actress. She got they were doing some scene and she got really injured. Not like to really bad, but she was like injured to the point where they couldn't continue basically. And then they stopped. And then apparently they started again, and somebody else got injured again. So it's kind of like seems to be a bit of a bad juju with Black Panther since the passing of the main actor. So this is kind of like, because I just read somewhere, oh, it's a bad juju. I'm just saying what I read. Basically, I'm not saying it is juju, bad juju, but kind of interesting how they can't keep on having a break and actually create a movie. So
yeah. So I'll give it a try. And Ragamuffin is saying it's always new number 1s, which absolutely, it's always new number 1s. And part of me is like, I'm not going to know what the heck is going on. Is this a waste? But I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I'm curious. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, I get curious about a book, and I figure I'll give it a check. And who knows? I can maybe sell it for what I bought it for, if worse comes to worse. Because this Nakayama has a little bit of a following, even locally here. There's people that dig his covers, so maybe I can use it as trade. If I don't end up digging it at all, I can trade it away to somebody. And that's
so I presume
that's all that I had really to read, because I've been doing gaming stuff and reading gaming magazines and rule books and stuff. So
those Bibles, those Bibles are quite thick, eh? When once you show it off, like Jesus, do you actually really read them through, or you skim them?
I skim them at first. I read like a good chunk of the beginning just to kind of get the basics of setup and what the moves are and stuff. And then I kind of dip in and out, and then I just start playing. And as I'm playing, then I go to section and by section and then start to dig into it, in more. The one that I'm currently reading now is a game I got for free, actually got sent by somebody on Board Game Geek. It's called Once We Moved Like the Wind. And it's only a 14-page instruction book, and it's got a lot of graphics. The text is really huge too. So when I say 14 pages, it's not really, because the text is enormous and they take up images and stuff. So But this one is the Apache Wars from 1861 to 1886. So I'm looking forward to digging into this one to see how that is. But yeah.
I remember watching your video and you got so excited by getting those corners around it, and you're like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
look at that! Like my shits are
Yeah.
now proper." And your OCD just kicked in, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I won." Score.
It's so satisfying. No, seriously, it's so satisfying. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever haven't watched this your video, you should go watch your OCD. It's just like bloody, this is perfect. It looks like you have everything you're set up, you have where to put them. It's like I look at my like whatever board game is called I have, it's like just mess everywhere. It's like you would go nuts. You would say, what are you doing? You have to organize.
That's the thing. I can't stand not finding stuff, and that's partially due to my shitty ass memory. Like I put something down, if I don't put it down in the same spot every time, like my memory, it's gone. Like it could be right beside me in a box, but in my mind, it's lost to the ages. So like I really have to be like that because I can't stand it if I sit and, especially with a game, if I can't find something, forget about it. I'm done. Pack it in.
So what happened? Like, I mean, you know those chits, whatever you call them. So if you lose one, you screwed. Like the whole game is.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the game. Some of them, what they'll do is they'll give you extra kind of blank chits, so then you can like write on them yourself. So if you do lose one and you know which one you've lost, you can just take a pen and write on a blank. Some of them they do give you extras. Like this one is a good example. They give you it's a block game, so it's got extra stickers and extra blocks. But some of them, depending on what it is, if you lose a couple of those chits, the game could be ruined. But thankfully, a lot of these games, there's so many of these units that you end up having extras anyway. You might only need 10 for a game, and they'll have like 16 of them, just in case, even though 6 of them are never going to touch the map, right? So, but yeah, you got to be careful for sure. I take over the half of the table when I play my game. Everything gets cleaned off, and I take over the table while they're in sleep and stuff. So yeah. And also, Scott says printing replacement counters. That's why in the back, like this one is. Sorry to keep droning on about this.
No, go on.
Give you. This is the stickers themselves, so it gives you in the book what units you should have. So if something happens, you can always scan this and you can print out another copy and stick it on a block or something, or make a new counter out of it, right? So they usually do this for the ones that have even like 200 counters. They'll put it in the rule book so you can scan it and just print up another copy if you need to.
So to my non-board game person, so do they still continue printing in magazine format the games, or is it like subscription stuff, or is it already like past this and we're doing only like whatever, I don't know what kind of other format?
Most of these games are really small print runs, like especially the war games. They don't print that much. AFPC's asleep. They don't print that much of them. So it's one of those things that if you don't jump on the game, you can lose out on it. Like, so stuff like this guy sent it to me. It was still sealed. He hadn't played it. So some of the guys, they'll buy stuff and just put it on their shelf hoping they're going to get to it. But that doesn't happen. And I mean, some places still do magazines. It's not as much, but the magazine games are fun. It's just the problem with the magazine games is now you've taken out all those chits and counters. Where do you put them? Because all you got is a magazine. You don't got a box to put everything back into, right? So then you got to come up with something else, right? So yeah, you rolled a 1 on the sleep. Yeah. Scott, I would love to talk gaming with you. I'd love to see what magazines you have offline. We can nerd out about that.
Oh yeah, I bet it's gonna be like longer in this conversation.
Well, I think Scott is probably into some of the same ones that I'm into too, or at least the same style. So I'd be curious to see. And I know he's a big role-playing game guy too. So
So you haven't read this as well either, then?
I haven't picked it up. I'm dying to read it though. Like I really want to read it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. It's the first one I'm not really sure about. I read it and I was like, but I'm gonna leave that when you guys gonna when you read it and see what you're gonna think about it. But maybe
so just not as interesting as the first 3, or didn't give you enough information, or
whatever I will say, it will tell you exactly how I feel. So I'm not gonna. So it's just it's great. I mean, the art is absolutely fantastic. It has like always, the action scenes are really good. But I'm not sure if I am like there's a question marks I have in there, and it
Right.
just feels like something is going on anyway. But the last well, that's the last one I've read as well, so I'm gonna show it off.
Mhm.
So Usagi Ojimbo,
Oh yeah, nice.
number 25, and this is great. I mean, when is your Usagi Ojimbo is bad, but this is a fantastic. So so there's two parts of storyline. It's called Crossroads, and we have like it's always what Sam Sakai does. It's so well. It's a very happy-go-lucky conversation between our main character and his cousin, I think, or friend. Shut up. And then sorry about
Okay.
that. And then they pass this gang, of course, and then they look
Right.
a bit dodgy, and both of them like like they like really like this silent scene where they have this katanas and then like just slightly opens, and then just like without talking how their intentions were, and they like passes by. I was like, oh my god, what is this, guys? And they while they pass them, it's like, who are they? It's like they have a bad juju on them, like they are bad guys. So everything, it seems like, oh, don't worry, we're not having any conversation with them. They're not gonna look at us. We just passing by. Let's not think about it. And now, while they're having this really nice conversation about things, they see this murder of crows, in a good way of saying. And then it's like, what the hell, So they go there and they see all these dead bodies, and they're like, wow, what's happening? And of course, to their luck, they have in conversation one of the barely survivor, who's about to pass out, but he's telling him a story, and then telling him who killed him. So while he's in his dying conversation, he tells them that those 6 devils, he calls them, who were our main character Jinbo passed by just recently. They are the ones just killed them for no reason, because they didn't have money. So they decided just to, murder them. So to get rid of them, just because, like just a little bit of exercise. And then, so they decided to, of course, in the high fashion of Usagi Jimbo, it's like, no, we have to, revenge them, because nobody treats people like that. Like they don't just kill them for no reason and just lead them there on the path. So they decided to split, which is very bad. That's why I think it's called Crossroads in generally the storyline. But then, so his friend or cousin, I presume, he comes upon this dead one, and he's like, okay, I'm on the right track, because they split up to in order basically to find them quicker. And he sees this the dead person, and he's like, he doesn't respond. He's just like frozen. And this is where the mysterious part happens. And it's so well told, and the further it goes, because we have 2 stories now going. So Usagi is talking to somebody in him, but that he has the worst kind of part of it, because it's like becomes a bit more creepier. So he's in the woods. There's somebody, like dead with a really like a astonished frozen face, and then she meets this like really weird. It's so and it's beauty about Stan Sakai is that when he does this art, is so like kids friendly art, and you have this little girl sitting on a log, and she's playing flute. He goes to her, and it's like in the scary movie, and it's like, why are you playing? Like, hello, who are you? And she doesn't reply. And then she turns around, and she's like, non-asking question, like, huh? I'm just playing my flute. And so it's like, whoa, so a bit freaky. So yeah, this is honestly, I really enjoyed it. That part of the freakiness of that, like, oh wow, what way is gonna go at, and the way it ended is basically had end of like a scary scene where it like breaks, like there's this motion thing happens and stops, and of course you have to go back to read issue number 26 to know whole the story. Really good timing. Everything feels like Usagi Jimbo is perfect to read, honestly.
Yeah.
And he has this 2-issue stories, 3-issue stories. And then before, I was so afraid of this number. It was just so stupid, and I picked up so late. I should have done it from the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah.
So good. This kind of like stories like
so
this.
much on their own sometimes. Hey, there's really no worry.
Yeah, it's
Even
just like, yeah.
That, like, at first I was disappointed when I jumped into my big volume, and I'm like, oh, there's stories that aren't in this. And then I started reading. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You can still get into it. So it reminds me I need to get volume 2.
Yeah.
It's
and this one
is
is And you keep on talking to that girl, and she's like, "Oh yeah, oh, so where you get the flute from?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, from that guy my dad killed." And you're like, "Duh duh
Right.
duh," and you're like, "What the hell, Stan
Uh-huh.
Sakai? What are you talking about?" So yeah, really good. Had
Cool.
those creepy vibes, which is like because of you getting this, like really like as I say, kids friendly art, but the
Yeah.
way his story and the way the punchline is with those like what Scott's gonna say spaghetti western movie with this katana like both sides like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna about to fight but I'm not gonna, like cock the
Mm-hmm.
gun and I'm not gonna like just I'm gonna show
Get
you about
ready.
my intentions. It's just those little panels. I don't know, it's just such a well like established way, and then the guy is doing it for so long, he knows exactly how to use his work to that effect. So but that freakiness of that guy with that girl, and it's just playing the flute and she's like not even responding to him. It's like, hello, I am this person, and he says, I'm my name this one, and she's like, oh, I didn't realize it's like I'm just playing my flute and I'm enjoying my
Mm-hmm.
play. And it's just like that freaky vibe that was really good. So I
Yeah,
really
cool.
enjoyed it. As I say, Usagi Jimbo, fantastic. And
Even
they
going
really
through
good.
those pages, it was nice to see kind of like the contrast of Usagi, and
Yeah,
then when the other characters in the bush, like, or in the trees rather, where you
yeah,
see the shifting tone like laid out
yeah,
on one page like that.
yeah,
Really,
yeah.
really nice stuff.
And
Almost
then
even
also,
mirroring the panels to some degree too.
yeah. So he sees this guy in here as well. So he sees this
Yeah.
guy, and then he. Oh wait, where was that? He. Oh, he's going somewhere. There's this. I'm probably gonna miss it. And he jumps because somebody jumps out of the forest. So like you in the
Right.
forest and you like roaming around by yourself, and there's like even in daylight, somebody jumps out of it. You spook. So he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that as well, which was fantastic. Even just to see that in panel, I can't see it, of course, because like because you wanted to, I want to show to you, and I
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
Oh, there.
Disappeared.
So yeah, so he's already freaked the shit out. So he's
Hmm.
really freaked out, and then that thing creature jumps out. And he's like, oh, and he's like,
Okay,
oh,
yeah.
jumps in from that. So it's even nice to look at it. So he's proper freaked out,
Great.
like
Yeah.
really good and kind of like scary vibe to it, which I never tend to think Usagi Jimbo had that kind of thing, but this has felt really kind of that because of that mysterious part
Hmm.
of the thing. So really good, and I
Awesome.
thoroughly enjoyed reading it.
Yeah.
So
Are
yeah,
you excited for the show?
I don't. Oh yeah, I even forgot about it. When is it?
I
Is
don't
it?
know when it comes out. That said, I don't know if it's this year, when it is this year. I'm not really sure. Scott might know, but
But then like that punk whatever rock. What is that came out just recently? That manga about Samurai Jack. What? No, not Samurai Jack. What is it that? Oh my god, I don't remember the name. It
Cowboy
flopped.
Bebop.
Yes, it flopped. You know that
Yeah,
Kabi Bibu? It's like that kind
that's
of.
because it was horrible. Yeah, it flopped because it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, did you? I watched it. I was like, what the hell am I watching?
I watched
Nothing.
a couple of episodes, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of the anime, but I think the difference with
Mhm.
Usagi Yojimbo is that Sakai is involved in it. It's
Oh yeah,
animated.
that's true.
I'm hoping that it does much better. But yeah, no, Bebop making that a live action was a mistake to begin with. Like that was just not a good idea. Period. But they went for it anyway. We still haven't finished the season. I think we watched only 2 episodes. And I
I.
mean, there was moments that were cool for me because I'm such a fan of the anime. There
Mhm.
was some nice little nods and stuff, but overall, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, now this is kind of unwatchable.
Mm. Uh,
Yeah, Usagi show coming soon. Anyway, like I said, I'm not sure when, but coming soon, right?
Netflix is has rights for
Netflix,
Usagi. They're trying to get something because we lost so many things from Marvel because of Disney app.
right?
They want to do it in Netflix are trying to gain some other ones. Well, yeah, I think
I thought it
Stanley
was
even.
happening,
Yeah, I think Stan himself is still mentioning that it's gonna happen. I think people quite are
right?
asking. I think if you follow him on Twitter, he's mentioning a couple of times because, of course, it is in his favor. But with all the new things, it takes time to actually get information. And hopefully, it will get information because
I
usually
thought
when
maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought it was already in production. Like I thought it was
yeah,
well
and that's
past
what I
the
thought as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
conversation stage that it's happening for sure.
yeah,
Like, or at
yeah.
least they're creating. I guess anything could happen still, but
Uh-huh. Hmm.
I thought it was actually being produced currently.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's still going for it, but the animation is not easy to produce quickly. Don't forget.
Yeah, if you're gonna
especially
do some good animation, yeah.
yeah.
That's
And
and
if
that's
you
always the
stand,
worry, right? If they're gonna do some half-assed animation and pump
mm,
that shit out, like that's where the worry is, right?
yeah, and especially if your Stan Sakai is involved heavily in it, is going to make sure it stands up to what it's supposed to stand up to, because I
Let's
mean
hope,
the
right?
guy has been doing this is basically a child he's
Yeah.
bringing up into life, and then if somebody wants to get him to be on the telescreen, I bet he's going to be there to tell them like, okay, you have to do it right. I hope
Mhm.
that's what will happen as well. So for his own sake, I mean, he's already popular, and whoever is following Usagi or Jimbo, will it's like hardcore followers. So I bet they will be.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think he's probably the kind of creator too that's in a good position where I again, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he's the kind of creator that he doesn't need this to happen like financially, you know what I mean? Like he's probably in a pretty secure spot where it's like, if it doesn't work out, okay, I'm walking away. Then you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing it, and I'm taking my ball and I'm going home, and I'm going to keep doing my comics because they're really
Mm-hmm.
popular and everything like that, right? Like so, a
Yeah.
Muppet based Usagi, that would be interesting. AFPC, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. That would be nice. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of Usagi would be interesting to actually look at. But if you're gonna be faithful to what Stan Sakai is doing, that at least in the same vein of his art, it would be fantastic to look at as an
Hmm.
animation. I think it would work really well. I think isn't it Usagi did turn up in Turtles? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It did, didn't it?
And vice versa, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think
in
you're right.
comic books they did, but I think then animated series of
Oh,
Teenage
I see.
Mutant Ninja Turtle came out. I think Usagi jumped once, but maybe I don't know
Oh,
which,
really?
because it was quite the 90s. I'm not sure which one it was.
Right,
Or
right.
maybe I'm imagining that in my head. But somehow I feel like I've seen him in anime. Anyway, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Maybe I'm imagining shit.
Yeah, no, could be. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about TV shows, so Boba Fett, did you watch the episode 4? I didn't. I haven't yet.
We watched episode 4 yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Episode 4 was better than episode 3.
Oh.
Episode 3 was a steaming pile of shit, man.
So
Holy crap,
somebody's
was it
changing
bad.
the.
It was well, that's because it was legitimately horrible. Like it was just I don't
What do
think
you
you can argue
mean?
with that. It was horrible. That chase scene was horrible. Those fucking kids that are robots and their stupid multicolor hover bikes, like they were horrible. It
I
was
actually
horrible.
like the color. I like the difference in like cinematography
Sorry, you're
style of
breaking up.
putting.
Sorry.
Oh,
Signal is breaking up. I can't. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. Sorry. I'm teasing.
fuck! Thanks for breaking my bloody
I'm sorry.
point,
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm sorry.
But I like the color. I mean, it was a little bit too much of the scene. I mean, it took way too long to do that set scene to just chase a guy, But his actual car, the escapee, or the
Mhm,
car looked really nice. To be honest, it looked like
mhm.
old school Lincoln in just hovering. But just me
Yeah.
lacking that. But because it was more action, I enjoyed that even more because it felt like it was up to the
That was
point.
action to you, though? That was action? Like,
In
it
a way,
looked like they were
yes,
on a
but what
green
it
screen.
was
It looked like I
before.
could literally sit here. Is this action to you? Because it looked like they were like this. It's like there's no real stakes in that chase. It looked like that chase, they were going 3 kilometers an hour. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to be scared of here? What the fuck is this mess? The train scene, when they take over that train, that
Yeah.
was legitimately a good scene. But this in that
Yes.
episode, dude, it was brutal. Brutal.
Mm.
Amateur hour as far as filmmaking goes. Like, who's your director on that day? Literally, it was like this. Just to replay that. Intense action scene. Did you see that intense action scene in the chat they had on Sunday? Holy smokes.
But before it was be like in conversation, you stand still and you fucking having conversation. That's what it used to be before episode. And you think that was great? Let's have a conversation. It's just nothing moving. Come on, man. Your body is still active.
Right. Yeah,
And
but
he's
that's
like,
character
oh.
development. So
We're
basically, though, the 4th episode was a little bit better. Not much though, because
Oh
it's really
shit.
a pit to dig yourself out of after that episode 3. I mean, there
Yeah.
might be some interesting things coming, not going to spoil anything, but
Hmm.
I mean, there were some cool moments for sure.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, I really liked those first 2 episodes quite a bit. It seemed like such a
Mm.
drop off on episode 3. And again, it was also one of those things with episode 3. I can absolutely see why the hardcore fuck Disney. I can see why the hardcore Boba Fett people just shit on that show because, like I said, if I was a hardcore Star Wars
Mm.
Boba Fett guy, I would despise that show from number 1. But especially seeing episode 3, if I was a hardcore fan, I would just be disappointed, like really disappointed. Because
Uh,
yeah,
it's funny how in this lore, especially when you introduce somebody completely new, fresh, people, oh yeah, loving, I'm eating it up, and like Mandalorian, I'm talking about. Now you have somebody who
yeah,
the character which has been in there, done that in the movies, and now you're trying to tell something different,
yeah,
and that's it. People are just,
yeah. It's
I mean,
difficult.
it's difficult to
You can't win for
understand.
losing.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Disney TV shows. I think in generally it's difficult to understand what the end goal is. Right at the end goal is usually at the end of the TV show finished. It's always have like we've all. It seems to be this is the way they're dealing with anything what they're producing now in TV show lore. Don't you
Yeah,
think? Like everything, take Wonder and Vision. It's the same. Go on, go on, go on. You don't know what's going on.
yeah,
Why I'm watching this, but then right at the end, you know exactly where they're gonna do it.
yeah,
It's this happened the same in Mandalorian. In the beginning, Mandalorian was really quiet, and it's like okay, you just go building, and then start building up to the point, and everybody got really completely crazy excited. Now we
mhm,
have Hawkeye is the same, quiet time, tamey at the beginning, nothing happening, and right at the end, you know exactly where they're going to be, kind of with the
yeah,
series. But I think it's just the same, like always, like you have the way to do it. It was successful. They continue doing that the same thing, even though people a lot of talk. So they are really hoping that people can continue right at the end of Boba Fett, and hopefully, let's hope for both of our sakes, if we're
mhm,
wasting our time to watch that show, it will have some sort of idea what they want to do with this character. Because at the moment, I mean,
yeah,
his background story is really great, to be honest. So a little bit, but I think I kind of
yep,
wanted him to go back a little bit more into childhood because of his
yep,
father, because that's his big deal of it. That's why he's became who he is, and generally anyway, because of the losing his dad anyway, and
yeah,
this in his ship, who's called slave ship. They changed the name to it now because of this,
mhm,
due to their day and age now. They're asking the name changed as well. That will be interesting as well. So,
mhm.
yeah, never know why
And
is
I
that.
think the thing for me with the Boba Fett so far is out of all of the characters that we've been introduced to in
Hmm.
this, Tusken
Yeah.
Raiders, like for me growing up, I love the Tusken Raiders. Like I
Hmm.
love them as characters. I
Yeah.
find them super intriguing. So all
Mm.
of that stuff was even more exciting to me because it's this other culture to some degree, like within the Star Wars world and how they're kind of seen and him kind of befriending them and that kind of confusion at the beginning. Like I thought that stuff was kind of good. That stuff had some interest because I
Hmm.
mean, for me, those are cool characters. It was disappointing to see what happened to them in that one episode.
So,
So yeah, yeah,
Terrence, are you ready?
They already own YouTube. They own everything, don't they? They own my phone. They own the chair I'm sitting on. They own the roof over my head, don't they? They pretty sure they have their fingers in everything. Here you go, Disney. I'm gonna get away from you. Try to catch me.
I liked the pick, like we're talking about Picard, and I'm a
Yep.
big Star Trek fan. I just finished. I mean, I don't know which hundredth at the time I watched the Star Trek Voyager, and
Right.
I sobbed my eyes out again. It's like, what the freaking fuck is wrong
Right.
with me,
Right.
man? I've seen this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a fan, so I guess that's why. So yeah, I enjoyed Picard a lot, to be honest.
Hmm.
The way we watched it, but season 2, but now he's saying it's going to be in the futuristic time travel. Ooh, but time travel happened in Star Trek Voyager, and I was okay with it the way it ended in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
but
He
we'll see.
said Disney's gonna buy Manitoba, is what he's saying now.
Oh wow.
Kick me out of the province.
I don't know if they want that kind of cold,
No.
I think that's too cold for them. I
Yeah.
think they
Yeah.
do like they Florida a bit more than
It's
Manitoba.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cold in there where you are at, isn't it? I saw I think the
It
last
was.
post. you were shoveling snow like what, up to your like elbows almost, or something
Yeah,
like
it was quite a bit. The ride home, I taught a couple of days just outside of the city. It's about a
that?
two and a half hour drive away. So when we were coming back, there was
Uh-huh.
three of us carpooling together. It
Yeah.
was the whiteout was pretty intense. Like you could
You.
barely just see 2 feet in front of the
Yeah.
car, and then it just got worse where all of a sudden we couldn't even see the hood of our car. So we pulled over for about, I don't know,
Jeez.
20 minutes or
Mhm.
so. Mouse told a mini peg. So we pulled over for a little while. Yeah, the homeland of Frozen. That will be the next sequel for Frozen franchise.
Oh, I
So we
bet.
pulled over for a bit just to kind of wait it out for a little bit.
So
So yeah,
you
it was pretty intense driving home.
so you all gonna turn into animation from now on.
Yeah,
Terrence will
exactly.
be in animating style.
Yeah,
And he's gonna start singing. Da, da, da,
yeah.
da, da. There's birds gonna be chirping. The frozen ones.
That's hilarious. Yeah, as we're shoveling snow, they'll break out into a song and dance number. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Just make sure you don't fall asleep, because I don't know if there is beauty there to wake you up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh, that was funny.
yeah.
Anyway,
I
so
like a mini peg out of those. I think Scott gets a point for that one.
uh,
Mini peg is pretty damn good. Yeah,
well, I guess with that bombshell,
yeah,
we can
yeah. I
end it.
mean,
We don't
unfortunately,
have.
I don't have anything else. Yeah,
Yeah, me
I wish
too. I
I did.
haven't.
I just don't.
Oh, I'll be talking about these two books next week.
Ooh,
I
what
was
are
showing at
those?
the beginning. So this is Lithuanian, a
Oh,
production.
really?
Yeah, Siberian haiku. So it's basically storytelling about how one of the creators' granddad was whole family was chucked into Siberia for no reason. That's what Russians used to do,
Yeah.
but they didn't want us for some reason. So
Can you
this is the.
do you mind replaying the beginning of the show a little bit and just showing me the inside?
Do you
Make
want to
yourself big?
rewind and go there?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
no,
I'll
I don't want to do that.
just for you. Okay, I'll just for
Okay,
you.
beauty.
I'll show
Because
you.
that's super interesting.
So Siberian haiku. It's as I said, tell. It's self-made hero production
Oh, wow. Yeah.
publishing house. So in library, I saw this. I was like, "Am I reading this right?" Because do I remember reading Lithuanian? Is this Lithuanian? And it is
Uh-huh.
Lithuanian. I mean the names. So I was really surprised. Anyway, so as I say, it's a girl's tale of her granddad and him being put away. So that's her granddad.
Okay, yeah.
And it says in here at the back, early June morning in 1941, 8-year-old Algis gets and his whole family gets forced to take his things and put into Siberia, where cold. He didn't know where Siberia even existed. And then to that, they basically, in order to survive, they eat frozen potatoes, salting their soup with tears, and warming their hearts with a song. And how they survive and how he came back to be living back in Lithuania after
That's
that.
cool. Can you show me
Yeah,
a
it's
page of the art there?
yeah, and everything is in English, of course.
Oh, man. I like that. That's super interesting.
Yeah. So fantastic.
I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about that once you've read it.
Because as I
Oh,
was
man, look at that. Wow.
yeah, as I was mentioning like while you weren't here with me,
Yep.
I was mentioning saying that when I was told the stories, the same things. Well, family and my grandmother had the same experiences, but when
Right.
you hear that when you're a child, you kind of feel like it's a fairy tale in a ways. So when you see somebody else's experience, you kind of like, oh yeah, it's actually really did happen. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so it's her basically granddad storyline, how he came to be and what I will tell you what like what's going to happen. But yeah, it's very very good to see that I found something Lithuanian based production,
Absolutely.
especially
I agree.
in English as well, and in England to find that, which
Right.
is
Right.
some library, like you don't really imagining that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also this one is called Flake. It's one English dude about story about Howard aspirations are modest as long as he can sell ice cream and get crossroads done. he'll be happy. So what happens when his world collides with the rampant ambition of his ice cream nemesis, Tony Augustus? So it's kind of like, like because I saw this ice cream truck, so I remember Ice Cream Man. I was like, oh, what is it? I started flipping through it, and art is fantastic, very clean lines, but really beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to the other artist who does kind of similar thing.
Yeah, like Chris Ware-ish looks like.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mind I was looking at. So as well, English, and this is production of Cape Graphic Novels. Jonathan Cape in England, he's publishing hardcover. Has this nice string as well.
That.
Really
I
nice
love
production.
It when they do that.
And of course, it comes out really nice. So it's
well
really
loved,
nice production.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we'll tell you what is that all about. So that's my fine sort.
Super exciting, Rasa. That's really exciting because I mean, it's again like it's so great that you have access to some of this stuff. That yeah, that's very cool. I'm very excited to hear about those books.
So apparently,
yeah,
and the COVID are like subscribe. Oh, Gore, you had a break for 2 years, so 3 years, whatever. Now everybody's just Twitter. I mean, probably even on television in America, you're probably going to see Saga, eh? You better switch off everything, media, whatever you have, Gore.
It's true.
Because
Disney owns Saga. They're coming to your town.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to... I mean, now we're already talking, don't you think? I mean, it's even like... I mean, of course, they want to take like comic book stores, like we know the Saga used to be. Even though some comic book stores are giving a first volume for free.
Oh, really?
Of sagas, just to get that people on the train, because there's lots of things to buy, like, I mean, I don't know how many volumes it has been.
And to remind people, right? So they want all that business, yeah.
Yeah, it's cleverly to do, actually, to basically, like those, when Image used to do those images first, that's a great way to basically introduce to comic book as well, so.
Yeah, no, sure, it sure is, yeah.
And the trades, the first volume trades are cheap. I mean, you can buy used ones for like nothing, to be honest, these days. So,
even the hardcovers and stuff too, like they pop up now and then, because again, they produced like 1 billion of them, right? So there's going to be so many out there. It's probably pretty easy to find everything Saga.
Yeah. Yes, and it's
still going to be $2.99. Wow.
Yeah. The price is still cheap as well. So they're going in the same vein as what is that? Spawn, exactly. So there's only a couple of them who has actually. Oh.
Saga and Market Reports AFPC. That's all I want to see from your channel.
Yeah. Also, tragedies that more women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hope hilarious. So. Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably the only exception. I'm fine without having that. I mean, I have plenty of it from people talking. I will not be surprised if you gonna go look. I have a Saga.
Yeah.
But yeah,
eventually, I mean, I think we were talking about it before. I'm not even caught up with before it went on hiatus. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna how long it's gonna take, but I would like to finish it and catch up.
Damien, are you up to date with Saga? Because I'm curious.
Hello, Damien.
I wonder. Yeah, is Damien?
Hello, Damien. Are you there?
Do you want to just pop into the video just to answer this question?
Paging Damien.
1 2 3 1 2 3. Can you hear? I was up to date.
He said he was up to date on Saga. Yeah.
Ooh, Gore. Unsubscribe, Damien. So don't forget. Yeah, he's the one.
Yeah.
It's funny. Anyway.
Right on.
All right. Saga. Anyway, thank you guys for coming, joining me before this gentleman decides to pop in and actually talk to me. Better than never. Exactly that. Exactly. So yeah, thank you for turning up, and we will pop in again next Sunday. Hopefully, whose channel? I think you, Terrence. Is it yours?
I probably won't. I'm like 99% sure I won't make it next weekend.
Oh,
my wife has got meetings, so it'll probably be me and the kids. So
maybe just go to cafe. Just go to those. Go to Starbucks and just eat their Wi-Fi and just have a chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Oh, we're so about to pop in.
Later,
too late, Damien.
Too late.
Sorry. 1 2 3 1 2 3. We're going out. Bye.
Yeah. That's a wrap, everybody. That's a wrap.
Cheers. Bye.